Hey, this is Andrew Brown from Exam Pro, and we are on to our modules section. So, we looked at the structure of how modules should be, just pulling up the documentation over here and scrolling on down to our shared module structure. So this is pretty much what we expect. We expect that main, variables, output, readme, license, and then you may need a modules directory there. If you are learning to write your own, what I would strongly recommend is to check out Anton. So Anton, he basically, he's an AWS hero just like myself, but he built and maintains like a ton of really good modules for Terraform. And you can go through any of these and find really good information. So like, for instance, the RDS instance has a very good example of how modules like should be used. And so we have folders within folders. And you can see everything is very well organized. And if we have a README, that tells you that it's exposed, and how he's defined everything are very good examples. But for our purposes, we just want to make something very simple. And so let's go ahead and create ourselves our own module. So what I'm going to do is go over here. And we've actually done a lot of this work already when we were using Cloud Init. So I think that would be a great place to kind of grab that stuff. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab this entire file here. And we're going to scroll on down and make ourselves a new directory here under modules. And I'm going to make a new file here, and I'm just going to call it main.tf. And we're going to go ahead and paste that on in there. And so I think that we should have outputs as well. What should it be called? It should be called, outputs based on convention. So we'll have that. And I just made that a folder, didn't I? Okay, we'll just delete that there. And we will go ahead and create a new file called outputs.tf. And we also need a variables tf. And we need ourselves a readme. And we should also have ourselves a license. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is just copy paste over here from Anton, because he's done a lot of the work here. So we have this license here, the Apache license. If it's good for Anton, it's good for me, okay? So we'll go ahead and paste that on in. And so now we have that. And let's go take a look at the README and see what kind of work has been done here. I assume it's just like to show how it works. Yeah. So, we'll just say in here, Terraform module to provision an EC2 instance that is running Apache. Okay, not intended for production use. Just showcasing how to create a custom module on Terraform registry. Okay. So nothing super fancy there. And then we'll just give our brackets there for the time being. I don't know if there's like even something for, you have these three backticks that you can actually highlight in a particular way. Oh, so there is one for HCL. So that's great. So what I'll do is just type in HCL there. And so now what we need to do is just kind of break up our main.tf here. And I did not forget the fact that we do not have the configuration file, but we'll get to that in a moment. So we'll go ahead and paste that onto here. And then in our main TF, we might have some variables. Do we have any variables? We do not. I assume we don't specify any kind of backend. So let's just go take a look at what Anton has done here in his main.tf. We go to the top here, and just looking through here, I do not see any kind of thing there, so that's fine. And you know what I should be doing is I should be making a new folder here. And this is going to be new folder. We're going to call this AWS demo Apache. Okay. Or maybe what we should do is actually call it hello world. It technically is a module. So we'll say AWS module Apache, maybe example would be better. Okay, and so I'm just going to reveal these in the folder here, and I just want to, place the contents of them in here, okay? And I've decided that we're going to want to actually use our module, so what I will do is create a new file here. It's actually making it in the subfolder. I actually want it at the top level there, so I might have to just touch that file there, main.tf, so it'll show up. There we go. And so if I expand that, now we have our main TF here, and then we'll just call our module. So we'll say, just waiting for my page to become responsive here. There we go. So we'll say Terraform. And we had module, and then we need to call our module AWS module. Is it module or modules? Let's go up the top here. Terraform AWS RDS. Oh, it has to start with the word Terraform. Okay. So I'm just going to rename this. Hopefully this doesn't cause me a bunch of issues. But we'll say Terraform. I think it always has to start with Terraform AWS. And then Apache example. Okay. So we will go back over here. And so we'll say Terraform. I think we can actually name this whatever we want. So I can just say like Apache. And we have to specify its source. I don't really remember this. So I know we already did this before with something. Where did we do this? Where we had a child one. Getting started? No. Depends on, oh, outputs. That's where we did it, over here. Okay. So just pulling up our old one here, just to save us some trouble. Since I cannot seem to remember off the top of my head how that works. So here we are just going to specify the source locally. And so that's Terraform, AWS, Apache example. Okay. And what I want to do here, I'm just going to close off some of these older tabs so we're less confused on what's going on. I just want to continue to break up this file here. So we'll go to our main. And we don't even need a Terraform block. Pretty sure we should be specifying a Terraform provider. Again, we'll take a look at what what's going on here in this one here. Maybe it's under versions. I kind of like that. Let's go call that versions. You could also call it providers, but... And so, yeah, that's where we're seeing it there. Okay, so what I'll do is go back over to here, and we will cut that out. And we will paste it in here. And probably we should be very aggressive or with our progressive versioning and do this. Okay. I'm not sure if you specified the provider here. So I don't see the provider listed. I don't know if you'd actually have to list that. I don't think so. No. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm just going to grab the provider out of here. Whoops. We'll cut that out, and we'll put that in our top level main file here. Okay. And so here we'd want to specify our AWS VPC. I wonder if there's like a way we could just select it by default. So what I'm going to do here is just make a new tab. AWS VPC data source, select defaults in region. Maybe there's a good example for us. data AWS VPC. I was just hoping there was something we could grab in 2 seconds. There is not. I don't feel like fiddling around with filters to figure it out. So what we'll do is we'll just assume that we have to provide that as a variable. So we'll just say var VPC ID. Okay, and then in our variables here, we'll just do variable. We have to spell it right though. VPC ID. Type string. And so we can just close our versions here. That's fine. So that's set. This has a security group, which is totally fine. That's hard-coded to our IP address, so we might want to provide our own IP address. My IP. Okay. And so with CIDR, okay, so provide your IP, e.g. I might just go grab mine really quickly here. What's my IP? $32. There's probably some built-in functions we could use, but oh well. My IP, right? That's fine. We have our deployer key. We only need this if we want to log in, but I suppose we could do that as well. So we could just go here and say variable public key type equals string. Var public key. We will need this user data file, so I will have to go back to our tutorial that we did this in. So this would have been for remote exec, no, Cloud Init. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and grab the contents of this file, and we will go ahead and create this in here, userdata.yaml. We'll paste the contents. Okay, so that is good. We probably would want to dynamically select the data source for the AMI, and we have done this multiple times over. The last time we did it, did we do this for alias? Yeah, we did. So we'll grab it from here, and we will go over back to the data source here. Kind of getting a little bit mixed up here. So just close some of these other files. So we will want this here. And so I'm just going to say my server. I noticed like Anton likes to do this, which is, I guess, really good if you just have one of everything. I think that's a pretty good idea. I don't think I grabbed the right thing here because that is not... This is just another server. We already have that. So I'm going to go back over to that other project there under, what did we say? It was under alias? maintf. Yeah, it's right here. I just didn't go up a bit. That was my problem. So we'll copy that. And we'll paste that in there. We'll just go up a bit and we'll just say Amazon Linux 2. We will scroll on down here and we will just make sure that we get this correctly. I don't think we need interpolation again, but I don't feel like updating this. We'll just keep it the same. And we'll go over here and we'll just say Amazon Linux 2. We might want to pass along the instance type, so we'll say var instance type. put the, whoops, double quotation there on the end. We'll go to variable. And we will say instance type. We'll just default that to T2 micro. Okay. This is our real file here. Deployer key, instance type, this is all fine, this is all fine. We have this file here. This is old, so we can go ahead and just remove that. We want Cloud Init. Yeah, Cloud Init's still happening. That was just an additional thing there. Maybe they can name their server, so we can just say like var server name. Okay, and I think I'm pretty happy with that. Could have spelling mistakes, I don't know, but that seems all fine to me. So what I'm going to do, just go back to my main file here, and I'm going to do a Terraform init. I just wonder if I have to apply the provider. Looks like I don't have to. I think it's pulling it from the submodule there. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's great. And it should complain on Terraform plan if we don't provide the values in here. So if we go to our variables, we can go here. And I'm pretty sure that Anton has a, I'll probably cover this in the course, but I think he has like a way of generating out his documentation, which is something we might want to look at some point. But we know that we're going to need some of these keys here or these values here. So I'm going to go to my main over here. I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in. So we have server name. Whoops. It's a bit of a mess. Try that one more time. So we have server name. We know we want to set that. We want our T2 micro here as instance type. Okay. We have our public key here. We'll figure that out in a moment. We have the IP address. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab mine there because we already have it. It's just going to save me some time. I'm going to go grab that SSH key so I can save myself some time there. So we have SSH, Terraform. Oh, it's root, right. For this anyway. Terraform. I guess I actually just want to cat it, so we'll do that. root.ssh, terraform here, .pub, and we will go ahead and grab the contents there, copy, and I'm just going to paste it in like that. Make sure the end is the same there. That is all good. We just did this, so that's fine. VPC ID. Just make sure you are in the correct region. But first we're going to switch over to VPC because right now we're in global region, which is not going to help us that much. I want to be in North Virginia, so I'm going to go over here. We'll go to our VPC. We'll go ahead and grab that. Something I don't know is like how would I override the region? I just assume I can just specify that it would know. So right now this is all hard coded for US East 1. So I do specify that up here to the provider, which the region is. So I think that's fine. So we will clear that out. And I think that's what we need. Okay. So if this all works, then we can put that in our documentation. So I'll do a Terraform plan here. So it says to work with Apache module data Amazon Linux 2, it has to be West. Okay, so I just forgot to remove something in here, which is probably like there's a provider or something in here. West, so we'll just take that out there. Okay, hit up. And invalid value for the path parameter. No file exists at user data. This function works with files that are distributed as part of the configuration source code. So this file will be created by a resource. You must instead obtain the result from an attribute of that resource. Okay, so doesn't like the way I'm specifying this. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do here, so I'll come back here in a moment, okay? All right, so just thinking about it for a moment, I bet I have to use some built-in functions to do this. So we probably could get the absolute path because under the file system functions, they definitely have a function like this. And see, this is calling path.root. But we have to really figure out what it is that we want to use. Now we check this in our named values. So maybe we can find that in our slides here. If we go named values, we can just find that here. Yeah, so for a module, there's these here, right? So file system and workspace info, path of the module where the expression is placed, path of the root module of the configuration. So I think we want path.module, okay? And so I think if we were to do like a absolute path, and then we were to do path.module, again, I don't know, I'm not publishing these on a regular basis, but this is my guess. And probably what we could do is do interpolation. And I don't know if this is proper, but I'm going to do it this way because sometimes like file systems don't use, like Windows will use backslash. So I don't know if we're allowed to do that like this and how that will work, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. And so we don't need file here just yet. Actually, we don't even need interpolation here. We're just going to take that out. And we don't need, yeah, that makes sense. And so we do file like that. So let's see if that works. Okay, and if that doesn't work, I'm gonna have to do some digging, okay? Fingers crossed. Wow, okay, that works. So I guess we'll know once we provisioned it. So what we'll do now, and I want the outputs in the main module here, so we're gonna have to grab those. And we learned how to do that in the outputs section there. So we're gonna go back and I'm just gonna see how I did that. I'm a large proponent of like always using your old code, as you can tell. So we'll go up here, we'll paste that in like that. This is Apache. So we'll just say Apache here. And, you know, hopefully that works as expected. So we'll do Terraform apply, auto approve. I'd be pretty pumped if that just worked first time doing that path there, because that was definitely a big guess on my part. Seems to be creating no problem. Okay, well, I'll see you here in a bit, and then we'll just verify if the server works, okay? All right, so that is finished provisioning. I don't think it's past the initializations, but you know, sometimes it does work even if we don't do that. So what I can do is just checkbox this here, whoops, and we'll just open that address in a new tab and see if we get that page. Not sure why it's not filling in the IP address. It's kind of annoying, but we'll go here and paste that in because it's trying to hit the HTTPS. And so, yeah, there you go. So it looks like our module works. And that means that we can just wrap up some of the documentation here and then we can go ahead and see how we can publish it on the Terraform registry. So what I want to do is just update my documentation here. And so we will go back to our README, not this README, the actual README for this here. And we will paste in our HCL, and we'll just clear out some of our values. So my own IP address, right? And then we'll just clear that out and say like 0000000. And then here, it's the same thing. It's just like, okay. So nothing super complicated here. And so pretty much this is ready to move on to the publishing thing. So we'll make that a separate little follow along here. But this is pretty much done here, okay?